Hello out there in internet land, Troy Bernier of Miami International Film Festival. Thanks so much for tuning in. And today, at this moment, we have our next interview session. With this interview session, we have Gene Kim from One Last Monster. We have Justin Snakar with Machine. We have Ralph Kliswitz.
That's close enough. That's good. Klishevich. Long Polish last name.
Oh, Koshevitz.
Klishevich,
All right.
yes.
Koshevitz. And we also have Luke Momo, the stamp collector. He'll be joining us. We just received the memo that he will. And how's everyone today?
Very good.
Very good.
Awesome. To start off, Mr. Kim, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the film.
Yeah. So my name is Gene Kim. I'm a storyboard artist and animator. I was formerly a CG artist at Internet Pixar and worked at Disney's Blue Sky Studios on a number of their features. And I left to, get more into writing and storyboarding and creating stuff. And my film is One Last Monster. It's a 20-minute short, which is not that short, action fantasy adventure set in a universe inspired by ancient Korea and East Asian history. Yeah, a lot of craziness in there. I think it's probably the most serious because there's a lot of themes that are kind of adult, maybe political, but also maybe the most absurd thing I've ever made because there are drunk bunnies running around drinking beer every once in a while. So it's a very weird film, but fun.
So what prompted you? What inspired you to produce the Last Monster?
I think I've always been interested in the question of like why good people do bad things. Shows like Breaking Bad, I think, explore that theme really great, or the films of Martin Scorsese, I think, also dig into that. And so I wanted to kind of explore that, but using, sci-fi fantasy influence from all the things I loved growing up, whether it was Robotech or anime, Evangelion, or Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. And I wanted to sort of, maybe it's the Pixar influence too, like see if I could make something visually entertaining and crazy, but also have a little more substance at the same time. So, yeah, it was an attempt to marry those two trains of thought.
Okay. And you produced this in, you didn't have to go anywhere for it. All your resources were in-house, or did you have to outsource anything?
Well, it was me and a good friend, super talented animator named Elmer Barcenas. We animated the whole thing over the course of 2 years. And so we were just remoting and then got a bunch of SVA recent grads to help color the film. So it was very off the shelf, very sort of garage rock kind of style of working. But I think we were trying to shoot for the stars too. So
Good. That's good. Let's, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a look at the trailer. How's that?
Yeah, let's do it.
1 second here.
How long, my love? How much longer must our world of Adin endure endless invasions? To this day, no one knows where these invaders come from.
Oh!
No one knows what they want.
Yura, are you prepared to do anything to defend Adin?
Come, be my light. Guide me, Tejo.
Remember, we must be ready to do anything.
Yes, and so who shall I trust? What is your will?
Wow.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Good one, man.
Thank you.
Good trailer too.
Thank
Good-
you.
Everything, and in fact, we also have some other treats from you. We have,
Mhm.
in fact, we got some nice poster here, man.
Oh,
Nice poster. Well, let's at least
shout out
that's pretty.
Eileen Kim, the film's director, helped me with it.
It's very nice, and
Thank you.
I'm personally not familiar with the process, but it sounds like it's a relatively multi-stage process. Because it sounds like you did the original artwork, but then you and a colleague did the artwork, but then you had some other folks help do all the coloring. I guess that's probably what takes the longest, or
Yeah, and I think just figuring out the animation while trying to stay on budget and like not kill yourselves trying to make it, because there's a lot that's simplified. Our art director Eileen Kim did such a great job also figuring out the look of things from environments to textures, props, and characters, and that's not easy too when you're trying to suggest a much wider universe than what's actually on there. But yeah, I think it was a fun challenge though, trying to make do world building from your desk, so to speak.
I love the characters.
Thank you.
To me, it's an epic piece that not only am I going to like, but I'll watch it with my daughter.
Oh, very kind of-
she's into these types of adventures now. She's watching the Avatar series.
Oh yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah, so these are these adventurous types of films, epic arcs. Those are good. Those are good.
Thank you.
What are your future plans with this, and how do you see it playing out in the festival world? I think you've already been out there for a while, right?
Yeah, I think it's been touring for the last year at genre and non-genre events, which is really interesting for something that's like unashamedly this influenced by 80s and 90s anime, but and is also, I guess, an original idea. Definitely planning on doing expanded YouTube content and pitching it around, for more expanded TV or maybe a feature adaptation. One can dream. But I think I've quite enjoyed playing in this universe.
Yeah.
As a Korean American too, it's a very personal thing because I get to reimagine and reinterpret my ancestry, and sort of, maybe it sounds pretentious, but like introduce it to the world in a way in an accessible
Sure.
format. Yeah, and I think too, what's interesting is Korea in its history doesn't really have, as far as I know, like a big epic historical tale like the Chinese do with Journey to the West, The Monkey King, or The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I don't know if you're familiar with any of those stories, but I wanted to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and then getting to see science fiction that's Asian influenced or fantasy that's Asian influenced, I think that's also something you don't see too often. So I think it was cool to do that as well.
We got a lot of that here, bud.
I love it.
We got a lot of it here. Yes.
More of it.
We have a couple Asian sci-fis. One, I did an interview with Deep In, which is a feature film. It's a second feature film, actually, with this festival at that.
Mm.
Very long arc. Lots of primary and secondary character development. We actually had a nice interview last night, directly, and actually the interview was in Chinese.
Oh, wow.
In Mandarin, which is different. It's our first time doing something like that. So
Yeah.
we don't mind, we're an international festival, so we play international films to an international audience.
Yeah,
So it's normal.
I love it.
Well, that's really neat, man. I think this is really good, Gene. To me, you're way ahead of the curve. I think a lot of people don't really understand that the origination components of anime, but Akira.
Look, Daddy.
One moment. Princess is calling.
Oh,
I made this one for Mommy.
It's beautiful.
And this one for mommy. Mom made these two for me.
This is beautiful.
I made this for mommy.
Yes.
This is these for me.
That's amazing. It's beautiful work. Daddy's in a meeting right now.
Okay.
We'll catch up a little later, okay?
Okay. Can you read me a story tonight?
Yeah, story time tonight.
Okay.
See you in a little bit.
Okay. Bye bye.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah, she's a huge fan. I'm surprised she didn't look at this. She was going. She would have said, "What's that?" There's-
Animator right there. Sounds like.
yeah, she's. But yeah, we're all about, our mission is all about sharing science fiction with the rest of the world. Because yes, it's a big deal in the U.S., it's a big deal in Europe, and in some other countries, Canada, but it's just now the root is just now breaking the surface into markets such as Asia, especially India, China. We're now seeing science fiction content coming from those countries to MISIFI, which we're amazed. We're now seeing science fiction content from multiple countries in South America. And this is all at the festival. We have
Love it.
30 countries represented this year. So,
Wow.
It's awesome, man. It's a wonderful celebration. And what I was saying was that Akira, there's actually a really nice piece about Akira. How most of the anime made today doesn't look anything like Akira. Okay, and even though it's so different than the new anime, it still carries a level of consistency, of quality that is almost unmatched.
Oh yeah.
Is unmatched. There are a couple of very good pieces on that. So, anything that's 80s related, you're gonna win. Because, however we're hardwired, we're hardwired to do a lot of things. How we see and interpret things. What I think makes the 80s so special is because that's the time when we went from analog to digital. From analog to digital. So there's something real special about that time, the creativity during that time, that I think carries on the way 80s music is still being played today.
Yeah.
They're bringing it back. Even that guy, The Weeknd.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Show was really a nod to all of the good 80s songs.
I know. It's
Right.
like Prince and U2 all over again. Yeah.
He's playing the B-sides too. He's not doing the pop one. He's doing the B-sides.
Yeah.
I'm a B-side type song guy. I like the B-side. The Cure B-sides. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So, so I think it's very. I think you're on the right track.
Thank you.
And I look forward to more content. And I can tell you the rest of the folks same way. A lot of the other judges that have evaluated your film, everybody's got positive things to say.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, I'm proud to be with everybody here. This is great. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. So thanks so much. All right, so we're going to then go forward and let's take a short break and I'm gonna tell Luke to come on.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back, and here we are with Justin and Ralph. I think Luke's coming back soon too. So let's move forward and let's talk with Justin.
Hello.
Justin, you're a special category of the festival. You are part of our musical performance selection, where you're actually charged to produce a musical score.
Yes.
Musical score. So in that process, you're provided with a video clip that you get to design your music around that video clip to see how it fits. And of course, we're going to judge it based on its merits. We know what we like because we already made something like this, but we want to see what you can do. How skilled are you in producing a score? So where do you think, how come you have the expertise to do this? What makes that valuable?
Well, I have been making my own music videos for a long time. I started kind of getting into this soundtrack kind of music. I started in horror more. I've been really concentrating on that, but I had a few songs like the song Machine, which definitely seemed to fit the sci-fi genre a little better. And since it was a part of the song, so basically the clips that you sent me, out of the 3 clips, I did make working copies of them all, and I picked the Something Dark. Something Dark came out here. It just seemed to fit. It had like the most mysterious kind of look to it. And in my initial music videos, I used to take public domain horror movies and fit that to my music.
So you've got experience of this.
So I've been about 10, 15 years I've been doing editing, trying to make my own music videos because it's expensive to make music videos as an independent musician. And I've been a musician for about 30 years. I'm a professional bass player in Toronto. Played all kinds of gigs.
But you're a Star Wars fan from what we see in the background.
Oh, yeah. Star Wars, actually, because I was 7 years old when the original came out, and it was mind-blowing to see that film. And as a gift, one of my uncles, a late uncle, got me the soundtrack. And I used to listen to that over and over and over. I just loved, because I'd be sitting there like just staring into space, trying to picture the movie as the music was on, and you could actually picture the scenes. It influenced me a fair bit.
That's right. I have to, is your we're getting an echo, but is your Ralph? I have to mute you.
Okay.
Can you tell me if is that a 501 build? Is that your own build, or did you get that from a Novos or one of the other places? Your Stormtrooper.
I got that at a drugstore the day after Halloween on a sale for $1.
What?
Yeah, it's like a candy dish.
Oh, okay. It's
a candy dish. Yeah.
It's not the real deal. Okay, I see it.
But it was only $1. So.
Yeah, well, that's the best buck to spend. That's great.
I'm a Halloween nut, so like when I hit all the 75% off sales the day after Halloween, I load up. So.
Awesome. Well, I'll have to make sure to have some of the Star Wars Lucasfilm stuff playing in the background for you.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's pretty neat. So how did you go about finding us? Because that particular contest is not a common theme.
No, it's not. I'm fairly new to the film festival circuit. As I've been starting to do this more soundtrack type music in the last couple of years, I'm like, how do I promote this stuff and how do I get it heard? And I just searched out on the internet and started looking up festivals, and it was all through that Film Freeway thing. They have a big search engine, so I just went through and found ones that wanted music only, which is only a limited few that only have music. There's a lot more that have music videos, so I just submitted a video to about 50 or 60 festivals. I found more horror-based ones, but
you submitted to 50 festivals?
I found every sale I could find and every discount I could find, and some of them are cheap. A few of them are, $10 and under. I didn't go for a lot of ones that were, and I tried to center it around Halloween because my video for that is a Halloween party.
So how has that performed?
Well, right now it's just kind of starting up. So I've won a few awards for a couple of my compositions.
Right.
So far, about 5. I'm interested to see how the video will do because it's kind of my first professional video, to at least to put out into the world.
Of course. Well, let's play it.
All right.
Let's ramp it up and play it.
All right.
It's only a minute 15 long.
Yeah.
Wow.
It came up pretty well, I thought. I mean, because it was great footage. I mean, just
Wow, that's pretty interesting, man. So you definitely used what kind of instrument did you use in particular?
that's all done in the program Reason by Propellerhead. It's just a virtual synth program. The song was actually a jazz song, an original jazz modal composition I came up with in college back in the 90s.
Right.
And I actually did a live jazz recording about 10 years ago, but I wanted to electrify it. So that's what came out.
That's different. That's definitely different.
Thank you.
We are trying to find something good for, a good way to put that contest together. But I can tell you, musical score, from what I'm told by some of the other professionals out there, that it's an industry that is under a lot of stress.
Oh yeah.
It's under a lot of stress, and it's because a lot of people really have simplified their let's see their soundtrack requirements.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy to make a good living from it.
I imagine it's hard. I mean, just being in the music business is hard enough. So
yeah. So it's definitely something worth looking at. And if you remind me, I'll be happy to forward you to one of the other alumni who produced soundtrack. He produced a soundtrack that was a mixed score for The Revenant.
Oh, nice.
Festival a couple of years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
He has a show. He has a weekly show where they talk about scores and soundtracks and stuff.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
So it'd be a good resource for you, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Good community to be part of.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's next for you?
Well, as I said, I'm submitting a video in the festivals. It's a Halloween party song, and it's featuring a guy. I don't know if you ever heard of a show called The Hilarious House of Frightenstein. It's an old Canadian early 70s kids show, but they hired Vincent Price to be the narrator. So, and basically one guy did almost all the characters. There's only like about 4 actors in the whole show.
Right.
And I got this guy to be in my video and sing on the song. His name's Mitch Markowitz. He was the brother of the main director, producer of the show.
Yeah.
And he's the only surviving cast member still alive. And he had this character called Super Hippie. And he dressed up with a blonde afro and he was real skinny. It was just these short clips. It's a really bizarre show. You can find it on the internet. It's actually on Crave TV right now.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out to festivals and see what happens because it's emulating 70s video tape kind of look with
Wow.
psychedelic backgrounds. It's very psychedelic type video.
Yeah.
And the singer, I hired this girl. She's a singer in a band called The Birthday Massacre, and she helped me just do. She's in there to look good and hold cheesy Halloween props.
Oh my goodness. Well, there'll definitely be some more time for us to go deeper in this throughout the festival. So make sure you don't disappear. And there'll be passes. We're going to send everybody a pass.
Right
to
on.
Come on board, and make sure you get on I think you're already on our group chat. Make sure you're on the group chat.
Yeah, no, what's up? Yeah, we're linked up. So
Awesome.
thank you,
Okay.
Troy.
Thanks so much, Justin.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye now. All right. How you doing, Ralph? How's it going?
Okay.
Good. So we're going to talk about the artifact.
Yep.
And I can tell you, I enjoyed this one. Hold on a second.
Are we live right now? Okay.
Oh yeah, we're still live.
Okay.
But I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself and about the film.
Okay. I'm originally from Poland. I came to the United States when I was 12 years old. And I'm a self-taught filmmaker. And The Artifact is my first try at a sci-fi film.
Mhm.
It originated out of an idea of a friend of mine who's also an actor who also is in that film. At some point, we sat down and had some coffee after finishing one of the earlier short films and brainstorming, like, what should we do next? And he came up with this concept. He just threw this at me, like, what if we do something about someone's brain being hacked? And I'm like thinking, like, well, that's not such a dumb idea. And then I started kind of like, the idea started brewing up. And I thought, well, if it's not brain hack, but maybe they record experiences and an experience in which characters record, human experiences, gets hacked. What happens? And the stories develop into an idea of, and I question sort of what is consciousness? Can we sort of copy someone's consciousness? What would that feel like? So there's a neuroscience background. I come actually from I didn't go to film school. I studied psychology, a lot of neuroscience stuff too. So I was in the lab with rats, literally. So I was always fascinated about the brain and its ability to generate this metaphorical entity, consciousness. It hasn't really ever been explained what consciousness is, right? What part of the mind, what does it really constitute of? So I wanted to do a film about something that has to do with the consciousness, neuroscience themes, and technology, and sort of the potential ethical uses of technology, and hence the short film, The Artifact.
There's definitely it's always been a theme, not fully explored, but there have been some films that played the role of tapping into one's consciousness for the purposes of either influencing a person, which what's the name of that film? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's with the famous actor DiCaprio.
Oh,
Starts with I.
Inception. Right. It deals with dreams. Yeah, that's a similar concept. Yeah, similar concept with dreams. Yeah.
Inception is actually, most folks don't probably get it, but Inception, which is a science fiction, is one of the best sci-fis of all time with what they did with that film.
Right.
It too, like I said, it too is a film where they go into your head for the purposes of either influencing you or recording your memories, but definitely using your memories for some purpose or using
Right.
your consciousness for some purpose. And it's always, those stories are always there, but they're not easy stories to produce.
Right. Mhm.
Not easy stories to produce. It takes a lot of interweaving in character development, purpose,
Mm.
action, things like
Yeah,
that.
this was a rather complicated story, and we had to really track back and forth because it moves, and there is the lines of reality and then digital experience get blurred down the film, right? So we had to sort of ground that film with some kind of a. It was a difficult film to produce. Let's say it this way.
I can tell you that even prior to Inception,
Mhm.
was prior to Inception was a film, and we're talking 80s. It was a film where they recorded people's memories and they would play them back. You know, you could play back and relive the experience. It was an 80s film, and one piece that it could be anybody's memory, and you could put the device on and play it for somebody else to relive that experience. And one scene that sticks in my head was his friend who had his legs removed, amputated, and he recorded himself jogging on a beach
Right.
and gave that memory to his friend. It was like his birthday present. So his friend put it on. He didn't know what he was getting. He put it on, and he starts wearing it, and he just totally freaks out because he's running. You know,
Right.
Really good experience for him. But it was one of those, you know, early 80s films, which you know, you have to have a nice arc, real nice story to it. But those are the types of movies that I think that Artifact definitely falls into. But where you take it a step further, by showing how people can do the wrong things with it and how things can get out of control. Oh, I'm not supposed to give away all the stuff. Let's show the trailer.
Well, I think the characters are complex characters. They're not necessarily doing something that's evil, because somebody might be doing things that they believe are their price is worth to pay.
It's worth the
sacrifice. Right? Yeah, worth the sacrifice. So what are you willing to do to obtain something that you think is groundbreaking technology?
Right.
Let's just leave it at that, right?
Right. Would you mind if we play the trailer?
Please do.
You can see the person back there.
Did you know the brain creates geometrical projections? The net is only a gateway instrument.
You saying we can connect minds?
On a subconscious level, our minds are always connected. Our technology can connect us on a conscious level, Steve.
Is this an experience no longer digital?
True, unadulterated experience. Let me show you.
Whoa. That's a good one, man.
Thank you.
That's a good one. I thought the character development was nice. You have a set of characters there, and you get to see them. Oh, I don't want to tell so much, but it was nice. It was good. It didn't feel like a short film. It felt like a really complete story, which made it for me quite exciting. I think I watched this one twice. So I think it did a fabulous job with that. Can you speak a little bit about the characters?
Without giving up the story, right? Okay.
Yes.
Well, as I said, let's just put it this way. They're complicated, complex characters. For example, the artifact, the digital distortion that appears in the experience. Then she reveals herself to the other character. She's very complicated because she's pursuing something that she's passionate about, and she's willing there are certain. She is the. I don't want to spoil the story here, but
No, just tell us about the character. Where did you find? How did you come about casting these folks?
So Chanel, I think, just fit the part. First of all, her looks. The character for the artifact had to be like a chameleon, be able to look at different looks, and she had this kind of a look that I was really interested in. I think she was perfect for that role, and she's got the perfect diction when she speaks some of the words. I thought she was fabulous for the role, and as I said, the character is very sophisticated, complicated,
Right.
and potentially mischievous in her action. But that's not how she sees her. She doesn't see what she's doing as wrongdoing. And I think that you see that there's a connection between the Steve's character and the artifact character. Steve, on the other hand, is kind of a lost. The character who gets hacked, right, is this potential character that does not feel has a purpose in life. He develops certain technology, but he doesn't get too much excited about it. Where his business partner Martin is the opportunist. He sees to profit from his technologies. Where Steve, he kind of goes along with it, but is not truly inspired until he's convinced by something that the artifact character develops that on a different level, and he gets excited. So in the short, unfortunately, in this short story, we could not really develop this character to the extent that now I actually wrote that feature script. We have a 90-page script for it where these characters are much better developed. And the fact that the story goes, the 2/3 of the story is where Steve's trying to figure out who is this artifact character. And she's a world-renowned hacker that he only pieces together from piece by piece by piece by piece. Right. And then eventually wants to get to know her. And then there's certain agency in a feature where that monitors these recordings. So it's a much bigger world, which we couldn't really develop in a short film. And it was this story kind of, it was difficult to tell because it's, as you said, I feel like I had to rush at certain points because I'm trying to squeeze in a lot into 23 minutes, right? But I had to sacrifice something. For example, Steve's character development. We can't really develop him that much, and you just sort of go into the story. Something happens to him, and he's trying to figure out what happened to him. In other words, he got hacked. Who is this artifact? What is this distortion that's appearing in my experience? And therefore,
that's Nick Ferrin, right? Nick Ferrin.
Yes, Nick Ferrin. Yes,
primary character.
And Nick Ferrin, that's a guy that actually suggested someone's brain gets hacked. And he's a good friend of mine, and we sort of he suggested the idea, and I kind of wrote it over a couple years. The concept sort of developed, and then also Rick Munoz is a good friend of mine too, from back in college, and I think he fit perfect the role of this opportunist, and then he's this kind of a sleazy, and well, I don't want to spoil the story. I got to be careful what I say, not to spoil the story.
Of course, no, we get it. But hey, what you're doing is also telling us why we need to see the film. It's it's a psycho thriller.
Right. Yeah, it's supposed to be like I come from background psychology, so I want to develop these complicated characters, potentially doing, as I said, mischievous things, but to them, that potentially have a different perspective on it.
Right. So, what's next?
As I said, I already have a feature script, and we're kind of
you're going to use this as This is the feature script is going to be the push forward.
Right. Well, eventually, the feature obviously would have to be a much bigger production, bigger world, and this is something I made with some of a lower budget. Although there's many different scenes, it's unusual for a short film to shoot on multiple locations.
Mm-hmm.
We actually shot like 4 or 5 locations. So it was like
4
or 5 full day of shooting and scheduling around, and we have outdoors and we have indoors. We actually use whatever was really available to us I'll tell you some funny stories. When I wrote the script, when there's the exposition, when Artifact explains who she is and what her purpose is, was rather simple. She would sit in one room and explain and back and forth while the other character is having that goggles. But then I realized, wait a minute, that's going to be boring. Why don't we just move her visually through different spaces? And then when we're scouting the area when she gets off the chair, the guy shows, oh, we have like the secret room in here. Like if you push this door, there's like a secret room. It's like, oh, really? Well, that's not in the script, but I'm going to write that in. We're going to figure out how to move the characters in there. So it's like, well, if they go to the secret room, they can just come out. And since they're not supposing reality, I'm not going to spoil the film, but are they in reality or are we not in reality? So they can come out anywhere. So then my friend had a really cool basement elevator that is cool texture. You move it by the rope.
Yeah.
So I love when Chanel puts his glove on, she just physically moves that rope to move the elevator. There's this physicality to it, right?
Yeah.
There's expression to it, cinematic expression with it. And then we get into this incredible basement. Those are locations that were just available to us with no extra fee. And I think we really build a world around those locations. And also the effects, I wanted really to make sure that I don't want to make, your typical, glowing lighting things or beeping computers. I really avoided that whole thing. Want to make it something realistic. So I think that the most challenging was the time-lapse shot that you've seen. It was a composite of 5 shots where I really want to manipulate sense of time.
Yeah. Well, I think your use of these, like on the poster here, these devices that people are using, the helmet and this goggle type thing, those interfaces.
Right.
It's very practical to see such a thing today.
Right.
With the Oculus devices and so forth. So it's the science that helps us make science fiction.
Right.
Which is actually a panel this season. On AI, on artificial intelligence. So I think you're, once again, you're going the right direction with the development of your story. It's quite practical, and use practical effects, which enhances the story. I enjoyed it. I think the community will also like it very well. It was cast nicely, and hopefully some of the cast can make it to the festival, because there will be opportunities to speak with people at the Q&As on our speak.
Well, something I want to mention about cast overall is that I've always wanted to sort of showcase what we have here available in Chicago. We have a very strong theater community. The actors are, so I think to answer one of the questions, how I cast people, I actually know them through theater community. And I've met a number of them, and I don't have a casting director or anything. I just actually go through Facebook. This theater is a tight community, and we have incredible acting talent here in Chicago who are just hungry to do film, but most of the time they spend on stage.
Sure. Well, you probably know this, Ralph, already, but some of the best actors, top actors, are really theater trained individuals.
No, it's true. They know how to do that moment-to-moment type of work, and there's a stigma. I've been to some other film festivals, and some filmmakers are afraid to use stage actors because they say, well, we rather have a film actor or a stage actor. But to me, I think there's only a good actor or a bad actor. If you're a good stage actor, you know how to make small adjustments to be good on film as well. And that's the experience that I had with.
I think they're making a mistake. Theater people are trained to work in staged environments where the stage is set multidimensional. They're trained that way. So when it comes to science fiction and having all of these virtual things in there that are not during the time of the production, they're ideally suited to participate in this, so because they have that, their mind's eye has been trained already from doing theater work. So
and as I said, that they just know how to portray the character well. That's what they study, right?
Yeah, that's what they're trained to do. You're getting a toolbox of some of the best tools.
So it's a big plus of being in Chicago.
Yeah,
I would like to continue to really take advantage of that.
Matter of fact, I think there's a production going on in Chicago.
Currently, all the theaters are closed, unfortunately, right now. But
No, a movie production.
Yeah, we have CineSpace here, and then there's a bunch of several studios. They do a lot of shows here.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's something really, really big was going on. It could have been right before Corona, or
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were to.
They're always making some movies here, yeah. But it seems like the film industry is slightly separate from the theater industry, and
It
it's
is.
sort of very unfortunate because those two should come together. But actually, I'm working on another project, and we're getting like some of the top Chicago stage people really involved, and they're passionate about making films right now too. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yes.
To use that as a resource, the Chicago theater community.
Yeah, you should. I think you should. You're dealing with people that will not need as much direction than those without it. So I
Right.
think you've got a good resource base on your hands.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah. So all the actors in Artifact they've had experience on stage in
Yeah.
Chicago.
So when it comes time for your feature,
Mhm.
you're going to be in good shape if you have a budget that makes it work. You're gonna have high quality resources at your fingertips. That's good. That's a good position to be in, Ralph.
Right. Thank you.
All right. So where are we? That's pretty much that's it for us.
All right. Well, thank you.
So I look forward to seeing you later on in the festival, and
Likewise.
of course, links will be shared.
Thank you.
Everybody will have a copy.
I
Of it.
love your background, by the way.
Yeah, this is
my background is cool.
Yeah, this is one of their previous years. It was called the Coliseum.
So wait, is that just like an image behind you, or
That's
is that actual space? No.
that's a Roman Coliseum.
Okay.
Oh, you mean? Oh, you're talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
A spaceship.
It's the inside of my space station.
No, but I'm saying, where is that?
I'm in the Lagrange, one of the Lagrange positions between the Earth and the Moon, so I could watch the lunar colony. I could watch Earth at the same time.
Right.
Stay on top of everything from this position. So during the festival, I'm up here, man. I'll be moving from place to place, part of the station. So there's going to be differences in you're going to see things different here. But yeah, that's.
Oh, I love it. I love your background.
Thank you.
It's great. So fitting.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, Ralph, I enjoyed you. Thank you so much for being part of our family. Now we look forward to hearing more and more news.
All right. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.